When Nick Kroll decided to end his Comedy Central sketch series Kroll Show after just 3 seasons in 2014, the outcry wasn't quite as loud as when Dave Chappelle walked away from Chappelle's Show a decade earlier. But there was a loyal fanbase who would miss characters like Rough Jeff, Bobby Bottle service and the PR reps of publicity. Since the league wrapped up its 7th and final season the following year, Kroll has appeared on the big screen in comedies like My Blind Brother and The House. He has also taken on more serious roles like civil rights lawyer Bernie Cohen and Jeff Nichols' Loving. Perhaps most notably, he and John Mulaney transferred their acclaimed and uproarious live show Oh, Hello to Broadway. But even Oh, Hello, and the characters Gil Faison and George St. Deagland, whom Kroll and Mulaney had spent years perfecting, does not carry as much emotional weight as Big Mouth, Kroll's new animated series for Netflix about horny middle schoolers that he says has been 30 years in the making. Kroll created the show with Family Guy writer Andrew Goldberg, his real-life best friend since the 1st grade. Along with Mark Levin, who began his career as a writer for The Wonder Years, and Jennifer Flackett, who spent time on Beverly Hills, 90210. They have produced a show that's so filthy Stephen Colbert could not find a clip that CBS would allow him to play uncensored when Kroll appeared on The Late Show this week. I was a very late bloomer, Andrew was a very early bloomer, Kroll says of Goldberg, whose character is voiced on the show by Mulaney. In addition to playing the Nick character, Kroll also voices the hormone monster who helps guide Andrew through puberty and the lonely gym teacher Coach Steve, along with several other characters. The rest of the Pitch Perfect cast is made up of Kroll's longtime collaborators like Kroll Show's Jenny Slate, The League's Jason Mantzoukas and former Inside Amy Schumer head writer Jesse Klein. SNL alums Fred Armisen and Maya Rudolph play his parents and Jordan Peele plays the ghost of Duke Ellington who lives in his attic and gives him late night advice. Like Seth Rogen's Sausage Party, in which Kroll voiced a literal douche, Big Mouth on the surface looks like it might be for children. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for telling kids to watch this show, because it's super dirty, Kroll tells us. But at the same time, he recognizes that they will likely get a lot out of it if they do happen to stumble upon it on Netflix. And like the boys in Big Mouth who get their hands on a VHS copy of Sylvester Stallone's Italian Stallion porno, they won't be able to look away. Below is an edited and condensed version of our conversation. Your friendship with Andrew Goldberg is so central to the show and really adds heart to what is a very filthy comedy. How did you land on that balance? Yeah, it's very dirty, but it's also I think a very sweet show, with a lot of heart. And I think the two complement each other. If it was just an onslaught of filthiness and dirtiness, it would be great, but I also think you could tire of it. And if it was just a saccharine, sweet show about two best friends, you might lose some interest. But because it's kind of doing both simultaneously, I think it gives both of them more weight. And when you have something really gross happen and then a very sweet moment, or vice versa, I think it makes them both much more impactful. And it always comes from a place first of these boys' friendship with each other and their other friends and their families and all the complications that ensue. The idea for the hormone monster must have been a major breakthrough in the development of the story. Can you talk about how the character became part of the show? We were talking and Andrew was like, the character, Andrew should have this thing, like a hormone monster. And then I just immediately said, he switches into the hormone monster voice, touch yourself, Andrew. It was like, I know what he sounds like and what he says. And that was for sure a breakthrough of like, yes, that makes sense in general for the show and also makes sense for why we should do this show animated. And then of course you have the hormone monstress, played by Maya Rudolph, who I think is particularly brilliant in that role. What did she bring to that part that was different or unexpected? Well, we sold the show with the hormone monster as a character. And then when we started actually writing the season, we realized the girl characters, Jessie particularly, should have her own hormone monster. And then it took a while to figure it out, but we realized that it should be Maya Rudolph, who plays my mom on this show and is probably the most talented person I've ever met. So, we were like, would you be interested in playing a hormone monstress? She was immediately like, yes, that sounds great, totally. And then we wrote some stuff for it and tried to record her doing